Coming up, Kevin Klose has his review of Oscars at the Waldorf Astoria, Orlando. From the Bob Barley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the DIS Unplugged. This is the DIS Unplugged, episode number 668 for the week of January 7th, 2014. The DIS Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. You could receive up to a $1,000 shipboard credit on your next Disney cruise vacation. Just visit www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com to find out more. Dreams Unlimited Travel, sharing the magic one vacation at a time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you live from the Bob Barley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends John Magi, Kevin Klose, Leah Zanola, Corey Martin. Back in the production nook, our producer, Dustin West, along with our associate producers, Sean Thompson and Craig Williams. And in this episode, one of the always popular, always looked forward to dining reviews that Kevin and John do. Those were certainly in Sean's list that he compiled of our favorite moments from 2013 from the show. The dining reviews are always very popular. So this time,
job security.
Well, you have it beyond that, but okay. Oscars over at the Waldorf Astoria. One of my favorite resorts, by the way, in the area. I'll reiterate this to people. This is over in the Bonnet Creek area. It's actually like pretty much on Disney property, but the property's not owned by Disney. And it's the Waldorf, and there's the Hilton, Bonnet Creek, that's there. And oftentimes, you're going to find rooms at the Waldorf less expensive than you will at the Hilton. The Hilton fills up fast, and so they yield their rates up. And the Waldorf, because of its name, I think people automatically assume it's going to be too expensive, and there are a lot of times that the Waldorf is less expensive than the Hilton is.
There's also Waldorf rooms that are cheaper than staying on Disney property.
That's right.
Yeah.
I also learned a trick, and I'm probably going to kill it right now. Are you ready? I've been told that if the Waldorf is more expensive than the Hilton, book a room at the Hilton, and then Hilton will contact you and offer you an upgrade at an unbelievably low price.
I even understand that it's automatic on their website. Like if you book there at the Hilton, and you'll be contacted almost immediately via email that says interested in upgrading to.
And it's much cheaper to do it that way than to book one of the great rooms at the Waldorf.
And I'll tell you, the rooms at the Waldorf are fantastic. I mean, they're absolutely gorgeous. These are definitely first-class rooms. And even at the Hilton, too. The Hilton rooms are gorgeous as well.
If I was traveling to, like I used to Disney on vacation, I would stay at the Waldorf. Our favorite restaurant in all of Orlando is in the Waldorf, and it is the Bull and Bear. We've talked about it several times. The food's great. The atmosphere is great. You're treated like family. You're not rushed. We love the Bull and Bear. This isn't about the Bull and Bear. We recently had some really good friends who were here for Disapalooza weekend, and they stayed at the Hilton. And if you remember, during Disapalooza weekend, the days after Disapalooza, there were snowstorms all over. So there were a lot of people who were stuck and couldn't leave their hotel. So their reservation was bumped for one night to the Waldorf. Sad. However, one of the things they included in this was the buffet breakfast at Oscars, and they thought it was pretty terrific. So they recommended that we go try it out, and we did. And what I will tell you is that if you made pros and cons, they're pretty even. There's enough pros and enough cons to even it out. However, the cons outweigh the pros. There are some amazing things at this restaurant. They have something called the prosciutto and cheese bar. I don't know about you, but I'm in.
Oh, yeah, really? You had me a prosciutto. Yeah.
Also, on the prosciutto and cheese bar, they have a fresh honeycomb that's in this device, and you can actually watch the honey drip out of the honeycomb, and then they collect it, and that's what they serve on the buffet.
Nice.
The other thing was very funny. We were standing outside the restaurant, and John went in to do some reconnaissance. Let's go scope things out. When he comes back out,
Got a plan for the buffet.
Well, you have to go in and you have to decide.
The nanny
if I
used to
sit
tell
here.
you, skip the rolls and head straight for the shellfish. He comes out and he goes, it's really small. I said, what do you mean? He goes, it's about this wide. And I said, and I walked in and I said, I don't think that's it. It's just prosciutto and cheese. There are other sections. This buffet is laid out like none I've ever seen. This is Boma taken to extremes. There is a section of the buffet in each of several rooms. So you kind of have to go on a scavenger hunt to find what you're looking for. I would say that the quality of the food was good. I would say that the selection is good. I would also tell you that while we were there were some overly entitled children who apparently had been sent down by parents or their very wealthy children who travel alone. And I mean, it just was, they were obnoxious, I guess is the word.
The impression that I got was that these were folks who might have been on a package tour from another country. And this was
they all spoke English.
Well, there was some broken English and there were some accents, but it seemed to me like they were on a package tour and this might have been included. And because it was included, it was kind of like a free-for-all. One kid went up and said, I want 6 omelets.
Oh,
To the person making omelets. So it was a bit, when I first got there, it was a bit of a madhouse, but it seemed to calm down after they all left.
Those are the pros, aside from the overly entitled children.
You can't blame Oscars for that.
No, I can't. However, I can blame Oscars for the level of service. The fact that you put your name in, and there was a very nice woman behind the counter, but you're in this, the Waldorf is kind of luxurious, and even the waiting area outside of Oscars is fairly nice. And John and Matt and I were standing out there, and we were the only people out there. And she screamed like we were at the other end of the football field. Or, in the lower 40. And I think we're about 6 feet away. And the only people in the waiting room. So, okay, we go in and we sit down, and I was surprised at how many tables were not bussed. I realized while we were waiting. Just food everywhere. I think the table of people next to us just threw whatever they didn't want under their table. And we talked about this when we talked about shutters that time. We sat next to a table that was not cleaned from the moment we sat down, and we were there an hour and a half.
Oh, my
It was
Lord.
not cleaned. And when our dishes were dirty, they were flung onto the table next to us. And we had a waiter who had his own agenda. When we sat down, Matt and I sat down, and John walked around and took pictures of the buffet. And he said, do you want coffee? We said yes. So he poured one for Matt and I. And I said, there's a third person coming. He's right over there. Well, I'll get his coffee when he gets here. We said, okay, can we have some cream? I'll get you cream when he gets here. So John took another 6, 7, 8 minutes and came and sat down. We brought over coffee. Well, by that time, I had no cream. It was a degree in Oscars the day we were there. My coffee was ice cold. So I said to him, can I have a hot cup of coffee now? No, you have coffee. And I said, yes, but because you wouldn't bring me my cream when it was hot, my coffee's stone cold. I'm not going to drink it. Fine. He put my cold coffee in the table and went and got me another cup. I then asked him if I could have a Diet Coke with my breakfast. And he kind of rolled his eyes and sucked his teeth and went, okay. Now, I get the feeling.
And he wasn't being funny.
No, this was not playing with the guest.
Okay.
He was annoyed. I also got the feeling Oscars is open from early in the morning, and it says it serves until 2:00. I saw no sign of that. I got the feeling that we were definitely at the end of service, and we got there at 11. And we were there till 12:30. By 12:30, they were cleaning up the buffet and taking it down. They were taking it apart. The buffet, as I said, the food looked good and the selection was good, but nothing was cleaned up. When I got to the omelet station, it was obvious that they had been making omelets since early that morning. There was no care in making it look fresh or neat. There were omelet splatters all over. And I don't know about you, I can cook an omelet without getting stuff on the walls.
Well, I have my moments.
Me too. But most times I can keep it off the wall. I asked, they had bagels in a toaster that I had to explain to John how to use.
Well, it was opposite. You pushed it. You did the lever up to make the bagel go in, and you pushed it. No, you pushed it down to make the bagel go in. That was weird.
So
I was very
said,
confused.
we toasted our bagels, and I said to this woman, "Can I have cream cheese?" Yeah, I'll bring it to your table. It's okay, great, that's awesome. Well, when it didn't come, I asked someone else for cream cheese, and they put more cream cheese out on the buffet. She had the audacity to come over to me 20 minutes later and says, "How is it, everything?" I said, "Did you forget about my cream cheese?" "Nah, I just didn't get to it."
What? Seriously? Really? That happened?
Yeah, seriously, cross my heart. Now, there are some other pluses. There is something called the world famous juice bar. And you can have orange juice, that's brought to your table, but then there is a juice bar. And they had watermelon juice. Matt and John seemed to like something called mixed berry juice.
Which was Kool-Aid. It was pretty much just blue Kool-Aid.
I think the watermelon juice was cloudy red Kool-Aid, but I'm not sure. There's also bottles of champagne out, so you can have all the champagne you want. We are so impressed by the quality and service and the commitment to everything they do at the Bull and Bear that we were hoping that this was a food and beverage thing and not just a restaurant-specific thing. I do not know if we were there on a bad day or if everybody in the restaurant was, in a bad mood.
Well, it almost sounds to me like, normally a breakfast buffet is going to end around 11:30. I wonder if you were seated at the end of their breakfast period and they left everything open because they still had guests in the restaurant. They've got to seat you up until like 10:59 if it's 11 o'clock.
I understand that. And my thought process is, if you're going to start shutting down the buffet, then I should get this at a discount. If you're going to not provide all of the things that people who before me had, I think,
then don't seat me.
Right.
Yeah.
The sign outside says till 2:00. So we didn't.
Odd that they would run a breakfast buffet till 2 p.m.
We didn't feel that we were infringing on people's time by going in at 11 o'clock. We figured we have 3 hours.
The other thing too is at the very end I got an omelet, and I specifically waited till everybody was gone because it was just crazy, and
Flinging omelet juice.
And because no one was there, I think she paid more attention to it. It was very good.
Yeah, yours was better than mine.
She delivered it to the table. She said, "Sir, I'm going to deliver it to the table for you." So it seemed like once they were able to calm down and actually serve, the food was a little bit better.
Now, the tables next to us still hadn't been cleaned.
Yeah, it was still dirty.
On the fruit buffet, there was a bowl of fresh raspberries. That's luxurious.
Yeah.
I took some. I went back and they were gone. And I said to the lady, "Are there going to be more raspberries?" "Oh, no, we don't put more out." Okay. There were it was really inconsistent. The bottom line to all of this is $34 a person.
Wow, that's an expensive buffet. But if it's also all you can drink champagne.
I was going to ask about the champagne. Can we go back to that? So it's just there and you just help yourself?
There were 2 bottles behind the honey jar. Okay, I apologize for making you go back.
Go back to the first shot of the prosciutto honeycomb bar when you first go
You
in.
can actually see them. They're right there
To the right of
to
the
the
honey.
right of the honeycomb.
yeah.
And they were just sitting out on the bar. That's a whole bar set up, and they have a prosciutto and sliced meat bar.
And just for those people who are listening and not watching, all these pictures will be linked from the show notes page, disunplugged.com. Just go out there and you can see all the pictures that we're referencing here on the video show.
Now, one of the people eating with us travels extensively and usually stays in business hotels where breakfast would be included. And his response was, "I think breakfast is included for these guests." Or they're here on packages where this breakfast was included.
Yeah, normally at the Waldorf, no, breakfast is not included, but you can get the bed and breakfast package that includes
Which is actually very reasonable. We did some research and we looked it up, and it's an extra $10 per person per day to get breakfast. So the $33 breakfast becomes, $10 if you're going to stay there.
And if you're
More
paying
than
$10 for this breakfast, it's excellent.
It has some great stuff. Show a picture of the sliced meats. I mean, this is where I got my money back. Just bring me
that was
those.
just John's plate.
That was my plate.
If you see the white menu board behind it, the champagne bottles are directly in front of that. And they're just out. Now, I don't drink champagne. I couldn't tell you whether it was still sparkly or if it was flat. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. It's not something I would ever go for, but it is out for anyone's consumption, which surprised me because, again, there were these very entitled children running around, and I'm surprised that this was just out where no one was guarding it or watching it.
They also had a nice cheese selection. They had a block of a round of cheese, which was really nice. So I thought there was some good stuff
That looks
I could
beautiful.
enjoy.
There were some very, very good selections.
Again, they had the big hot area where they had hot food that was prepared already, and to some extent, this was very breakfast buffet at any hotel.
Yeah, this could have been Shoney's.
This could have been any place. It wasn't that special. What was special was the omelet station where they were making them fresh.
There was also a very nice baked goods section
Right.
where things looked like they had been baked fresh.
Yeah, I don't know that I could compare this to Shoney's.
No, that part right there, that little. There was sausage and there was powdered eggs
Oh,
and there was
okay.
some bacon. I mean, you'll get that anywhere.
Right, I see.
Down the way, there was a frittata that had roasted vegetables and cheese in it, but I got the feeling that frittata had been there quite a while. It had gotten crusty on the top and the bottom when food just sits in a warmer too
Yeah.
long. They would make you, once the entitled children got out of the way, they would make you a waffle or fresh pancakes. So again, there
Were crepes available too as well.
Yeah, they didn't look so good.
Matt got one. He thought it was good. We thought the pastries looked good. At one point, it was kind of like there were donut holes, which kind of seemed like a
I
little
actually
cheap.
think that's them, aren't they?
No, that's the cinnamon roll thing.
The food selection was good.
There's a
the
donut
food
holes.
quality, for some of it, was very good. The upkeep, the service, and the attention to detail, not so good.
Did you talk about the pricing and what the guy said when you first sat down?
Oh, yeah.
It's really
Our
weird.
waiter, who I really think I interrupted his real job, says to me, do you want to order a la carte or from the buffet? And I said, well, I think I'm going to get the buffet. Well, if you're going to get the buffet, you got champagne, you got coffee, and you got juice. If you order a la carte and you order juice and coffee, you're losing money. To make your money here, you got to get the buffet. And I thought, well, I'm not really here to make money.
Yeah, I'm looking at the a la carte menu, and there's not a single thing on here under $19.
It's very expensive. One of the things they did have, which I thought was interesting, but we didn't order, was they had Bull and Bear steak and eggs. So it looked like you could have gotten the steak from the Bull and Bear and had steak and eggs made, but
$32.
The restaurant,
very expensive.
when we left, the restaurant had emptied out, and it looked like a war zone.
Wow.
Like we had been feeding POWs or something like that. It was a shambles. And I thought to myself, there were a lot of people there. And this was not a holiday. We did not go on a holiday morning. There was a lot of staff there, and I thought, if I was
And no
the-
one's bussing tables?
No. The table next to us was not bussed. And again, the four ladies who sat there, I think they just scraped their plates under the table. They were slobs. Absolute slobs. And they left the stuff right on top of the table. And then
You got to start taking pictures of that stuff, too. I want to see that stuff.
And
should've,
then when
I
he
don't
would
know.
clear our plate, he would not even walk it all the way over to the table. It kind of on the table where he frisbeed it across the table. It just was. Then he finally come up to me and he go, "Do you want another Diet Coke?" I was almost afraid to say yes. But the whole coffee thing, I'm not giving you milk till everybody's sitting down. When did that become a rule?
Yeah, really.
So it was at $33. I think it's kind of high. I think it's a little pricey. If you're getting it with your room, it's great. If there's no entitled children in the place, it might even be better.
Also, Oscar's is one of the places when you eat there at lunch or dinner where you can get the world famous Waldorf salad, a true Waldorf salad. If you haven't had one, they really are amazing. The Waldorf salads are incredible.
There are pieces of this that I think are worth it. That prosciutto bar and that cheese and the fresh honey and the juice bar. Everybody loved the juice bar. The other stuff, you have to you might have to overlook some stuff.
Okay. So that is Kevin's review of Oscar's at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel at Bonnet Creek here in Orlando. And I guess that will do it for this segment. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back with you again next time with another edition of the DIS Unplugged. Thanks for being with us, everyone, and remember, stay out of the damn lakes. Bye.